The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is the Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woolden. We got a great show for you once again. A lot of hot topics, and congratulations, Oiler fans. You have another first-round pick. Let's just hope management doesn't screw it up. Speaking of screw-ups, I'm only kidding. Andrew Brethauer, how you doing, man?
My mom's not going to be... She's coming here.
She's coming for the seat?
She's coming to take you now.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Bring on the Brethauers. We should have her on sometime.
She will. She's coming.
It'd be a great Mother's Day episode, too. Why not?
I already have Mother's Day planned. Sending her to ice skating.
Oh, okay. Well,
that was Christmas present, too. Double whammy.
All right, well, pleasure to have you on. It'd be nice to know what you're doing for Mother's Day. Speaking of a guy here who's showing a lot of love, helping out the Lloydminster Extreme, second year, first full year, and looking pretty good after a couple practice sessions. Talking, of course, to our friend here. I want to say Graham Murray, making sure I got that right. Lloydminster Extreme lacrosse head coach. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Right on, man. And it's glad to have you guys on. And of course, as I mentioned before, talking about Connor McDavid, Oiler fans through the roof. Other fans of hockey, not so much. It turned out an 11.5% chance worked out in the Oilers' favor, grabbing the #1 overall pick. They didn't say it, which kind of annoyed me about Bill Scott, saying, well, no, we don't want to rob anybody of that, anticipation of will they or won't they be picked. We all know it's going to be Connor McDavid. But is this guy good enough to turn around an Oiler franchise that has been god-awful over the last decade? Who wants to take this one?
You go ahead.
I really don't think that he's going to just come in next year and just flip it right around. I think they need more depth and up front. I think they need some defensemen maybe that would help them out. Some more leadership players. You can't just keep throwing first overall picks into the mix like that and just expect them to gel and be this great team. You need more role players, I think.
And you mentioned defense, they're terrible on. Goaltending, terrible. That Connor McDavid can't play goal and he's not going to play defense. You need to fix those first. And those are things that do win championships. You look back at teams like the Boston and LA and Chicago. These teams have great defensive cores. Yes, they have great players up front, but it starts with the back end. If your back end's not winning, you're not winning playoff games. There's so much wrong with Edmonton that this pick is just kind of masks the problems. And in a sense, I think, ruins Edmonton even more because now you're going to keep the same management around for the next couple of years, and they get free mulligans now for
that might change, though, because Bob Nicholson has now taken over as the CEO role of the Oilers Entertainment Group, which means he has the power to make some changes. So you have the Craig McTavishes, the Kevin Lowe's will have to answer to Bob Nicholson. That's got to be a good sign for the Oilers, right? At least Daryl Cates did something right, the owner of the Oilers, did something right by giving him the main position to oversee, rather than Daryl Cates just saying, you know what, I'll let the old Oiler brass kind of do their thing.
Yeah, I think it was good to at least get something switched up. Like, obviously what they were working with wasn't going anywhere, so it's good that they at least did something new.
Well, we have 3 first-round picks, overall picks.
Well, 5 of the last 6?
4 of 6.
4 of 6, yeah. Like, any other franchise, that turns around. But Pittsburgh had, 2 in a row, and they turned it right around, built around those 2 players, and Malkin and Crosby, and now they've got a great team. But I don't know if McDavid's the one to build around, though.
And it goes deeper than that, too. I think when you get into things like scouting, they're terrible past the first round. Anybody can pick a top 10 player. Anybody, and I mean that. Like, there's a few every once in a while you get the dud who doesn't work out, but anyone can pick top 10, and then once you start getting into the second, third round, that's where you're getting your problems. They're not getting these gems, these second, third round guys who are producing into the depth players that they need. So I think they have to fix management so much, especially now when you have all these great people in hockey coming out. You have so much to choose from, but yet we're going to keep with the old brass.
What do you make of Connor McDavid's reaction when he found out the Oilers won? Because a lot of media is saying he looked very disappointed. It sounded like he wanted to go to Buffalo, if anything. He's an Ontario boy, right? So is that what was going on in his mind? What seemed to be the issue there, if there was one?
Well, I think the top 3 teams that no one wants to play for are the Edmonton Oilers, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the three teams that no one wants to play for. So I wouldn't really be too happy going to Edmonton if I was top pick. I think I'd much rather go to Buffalo, where they have nothing going there. He'd bring him in, and then they'd build on him. I think that would be best case scenario.
It's hard to read because he's such a been conditioned to be that way. He doesn't react to anything. He wins an award, he doesn't react. I think the most you get from him is when he scores goals, and that's what he gets the reaction from. So I don't know if we can really read into his non-reaction, but from a media standpoint and just a guy who despises the Oilers, I hope he pulls a Lindros, and I hope he doesn't show up, because I think it'd just be that nice little added touch for the Oilers losing again.
Okay, well, how about this? What about the lottery aftermath, guys? Because if you look at Tim Murray, he got the second overall pick. That's not bad. You got an American, a potential next Mike Modano in this case, also wearing the number 9 as well, that could serve as the next American superstar. But yet he said in the press conference he was disappointed for the fans they didn't win the first overall pick, even though he tried to tank. Do you think that's the case, or do you think Eichel is going to be another solid player for Buffalo?
I think Eichel's going to be a great player too. It's just it's too early to tell, right? Like it's tough to just say that he's going to be an awesome player right away. Like he hasn't even played one NHL game yet. I don't know. Give him a couple seasons, see how it goes. But
is it truly disappointing for Buffalo fans, even though you get the second overall pick, and you still get another good guy? It's just there's a lot of hype surrounding McDavid.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's like Buffalo is right on the shore of Canada, which is the hype machine of every hockey player, and McDavid's our poster boy in Canada right now. He's the OHL prodigy. That's what he is. So they're getting all that media off of him, whereas Eichel's from Boston University. We don't really hear too much. You hear about him, but you don't hear a lot about him. Like you know him, but you don't watch him play. We're not seeing the highlights of Eichel like we did McDavid. So they lost, I guess, that marketability that you would get with, say, Connor McDavid. But Eichel's still a great player, and like he maybe didn't show it during the World Juniors, but he's still a great player, great centerman, and a guy you could basically start building your entire team around. What he comes without is out the hype, and almost in a sense you want that. You maybe sometimes McDavid might come here and you have all this hype, all this pressure for him. He has to turn the Oilers around. Eichel doesn't have to turn Buffalo around. He's just part of the pieces that are going to start slowly making this a comparable, better franchise. So
you got Arizona, that's third. You got Leafs at fourth. You got a guy like Hannafin, Strome, another available prospect. It's not like these guys are bad. They could actually potentially be some really high-end level players for you for years to come, correct?
For sure. Strome's definitely the top NHL scorer this year. So if he goes to the Leafs, that's exactly what the Leafs need, scoring and a centerman. You've solved your problem that you need right there. You can almost keep Phil Kessel if you want to put them together, if that's the goal down the line. Hannafin is a great defenseman. If he goes to Arizona, you've paired him up with Ekman Larsson, and now you got a pairing for the next 15 years, and defense is shored up for that generations in that, and that's what you need to win championships. We have a great goalie in Mike Smith, now great defense, now we'll start working on the forwards.
All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs and get these two views of how it's been going so far. Stay tuned.